Ooh, this one is really heavy. Interesting one. It's a time for package from China. Hey, welcome back to the channel. Yep, it's the time again. It's the time for the package from China, and this time we're going to be checking out a device I've picked up from the Sumo shop. The Sumo shop is a very unique store that actually sells all kinds of refurbished but also modified devices. And in this video I just want to do a chit chat about this very cool, completely like refurbished but also modified, what I understand of, DS version. So the DS is a device I did own. This is, by the way, the NDS Lite, different colors, and they are quite cheap to buy. In here we find the cool keychain of the Sumo shop and a business card. They're using these plastic ones. So over here we're having some screen protectors I need to put on. Personally, I really hate that I need to do it myself. However, in here we're finding the one I've picked out, and this is the translucent blue. Blue is my favorite color, and it also comes even with an extra protection case. So the device is refurbished, so in other words it's in very good condition, or in other words it's brand new so far I can see. When it comes to the shell and the internal parts has been cleaned up, and so far I can just actually see there is no problem whatsoever. I love it that you can see the PCB in the inside. So when it comes to, let's say, the cases, you can remove it if you want to. You can just see they're putting the logos and everything here. I think they just printed it out, but it is a high quality one when it comes to the Sumo shop. But you can remove it if you want to. Oh, they even put a sticker on here for if you're going to be opening it up. Also the stylus is in here. Ooh, this thing does have like a lot of resistance. But let's power it on. There is no charger, so you need to get yourself like a charger somewhere else. So let's see if it's going to be booting up, or do I need to get myself a charger. So the Nintendo DS Lite is just a very cool device. I also have the old version. So it has been set up already. But how is it when it comes to the modified part? The software itself, there is not, let's say, a lot going on over here. And in here we're finding this R4 card. Yeah, that seems to be the 2025 model. Wow, it's a card that I have seen before, by the way. The Gold Pro, okay. So let's plug it in and let's see what's going on when it comes to this SD card itself. But let's boot it up and let's see and how does everything work. So first of all, this is not like an ultimate emulation beast that can play Sega Genesis, or at least that is pre-installed on the R4 card. So what you're getting is this menu. It's not a very fancy menu, just basic as it can be. Pressing over here the folder, we need to go to the play Game Boy Color.nds. This will boot up the emulator. At the bottom part over here you can just see all of the folders, the same one that we already visited. So we're going to be revisiting, and over here we're finding the folders we can open up, slap in your files, and then we can actually boot up a game. And in this way it will automatically boot up into, let's say, the Game Boy emulator. So the audio quality is quite good of the Nintendo DS, not like very loud. Pressing the Y button you can just see we can switch between aspect ratio. You can also mess around with the L and R buttons. And in here we're finding the special menu. We have exit, continue. There seems to be not an option for quick load, quick save. But if you're going to be switching it to the slot number 1, we can make a save over here. It just freezes the game or some kind. But it comes back automatically. Okay, that's it. So we can just start off. Now, one of the things I do notice of this particular shell, but you need to take consideration, it is possible it will slightly be different of the overall gameplay experience if you're looking at the first, or like the original Nintendo DS. And this has to do with the shells of core aftermarket, but not in a bad way. What do we mean? Particularly when it comes to the D-pad. The D-pad plays quite nice. It's very nice. I mean, particularly when it comes to resistance, it's very like flexible. And the way how this plays is very nicely. If you're going to be playing some adventure games or shmups or whatsoever, this is a very nice D-pad. Of course, it's going to be a small D-pad itself, so we need to get used to it. But getting the hang of it, this works quite nice. So let's get into the settings. So let's go to default settings. We can just switch out all kinds of stuff. We can go back to the settings when it comes to scaling. You can just go to full screen if you want to do that, if you want to have like widescreen shenanigans. So we can just change it out to the top. Here you can see that you can switch. That's kind of cool. If you have like the bottom screen, you can actually do that. So, but that's it. That's the stuff that we can actually do. There is a lot of cool stuff that we can do with the device itself. Unfortunate, out of the box, there is no, emulation when it comes to other devices. But let's, oh, okay, messing it up over here. And we can just exit the system if you want to. Here we can mess around a little bit more, like Game Boy Color always. What we can also do is going to the list back and choosing this different folder. Let's zoom in a little bit with the Game Boy Color. And this way we can just actually play Game Boy Color games. Yep, that's how easy it actually works. In this case, we can just boot up another game and play. But when it's getting into the game, same story. It will save the settings with the upscaling, and in this way we can just actually play the games. So when it comes to the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, it's absolutely awesome. And in this way we can just really easy play a lot of games. And the library of the Game Boy Classic and Color, come on, let's be honest, there has so many good games. And this way we can just play some old school Bomberman. Oh, Bomberman never disappoints, you know that? Beside that Bomberman 64 craziness. Double bomb, I love it. While navigating through the game itself, you can just see no problem whatsoever. And again, you need to get used to the D-pad when it comes to that. But let's switch to the GBA to see how that actually runs on this. This works slightly different. You can see booting up the emulator for the GBA. You're going to be having the top screen on black and the bottom one is going to be activated. So it's unfortunate it's not going to be consistent, but let's get into the Game Boy list over here. And here we can easily get into some different games. GBA also an amazing library. You know, I've never played at Altered Beast on the GBA. And I can tell you, you have sometimes those titles of games are so freaking horrible. This is absolutely a great example. But getting into the game, it will automatically get into the top screen again. And that is kind of an annoying thing going on. The shoulder button doesn't do anything. You can just start the game like that. And we can just play this game. Oh man. Oh, Altered Beast, I've been playing that so much on, let's say, the Sega Genesis. But going back to this game with the GBA, what were they freaking thinking? Some games, they should not even like bother like trying to, let's see, get something going on, because this is so different than the original Sega. But the Sega Genesis version was a lot of fun. This makes no sense. It feels kind of clunky and some weird stuff when it comes to this. But this is the Nintendo DS. How about the Nintendo DS stuff? So it's slightly different than the stuff that we've seen before. So over here we're having the tools, we're having an MP4 player, that's kind of cool. We're having the skin selector and all kinds of awesome things. However, that's not what we're going to be focusing on. We can just change out the games fairly easy, having this massive list over here. And we can just choose out a different game and just play. For example, booting up the game. I'll give you an example how fast it will actually load up. And that's it, we can just play the Diddy Racing DS game. Fairly easy, and we can just play those games without any problem. And the loading times are almost instant with most of the games that I've been trying. Okay, but with the Diddy Racing, if you're a fan of the game like me and played it a lot on Nintendo DS or the N64, and you want to play this particular version, you will be disappointed, particularly when you're going to be looking at the side-by-side comparison. There was a fellow YouTuber who made a video about the shenanigans, what they did with this Nintendo DS version. They changed out so much stuff. However, I think it looks kind of good. Some effects, some other things, more like the soul has been changed out from the game. But it's a lot of fun revisiting this. I cannot really remember that bridge of over there. So I have been switching out so many stuff and so many different things of the game. Also including some soundtracks were different. However, the game is a lot of fun to play and it runs without any problem. That is one thing to be sure. But with some games you need to wait a little bit longer due to the save files going to be created. And I can tell you that this is such a cool game. And you can just see that both of the screens will utilize, let's say, the game. Absolutely awesome. I really enjoy myself back in the day when it comes to the very cool, let's say, Sonic new version adventure games, where I'm still like a retro game when it comes to Sonic. This is just so much fun. With all the new shenanigans they were going to be doing. I was just freaking pressing the wrong button. However, it's a very cool game, a lot of fun. And I love the two screens when you're just running around and you're going to be from the bottom and the top screen. It's such a cool overall experience. Oh yeah, I finally found it, the Sonic Rush game. I played the adventure game and don't like it at all, but this was such a cool game. So we're going to be from the bottom and the top screen and other way around. Oh man, this is some old school Sonic going wild, man. This is so cool. So now we're going to be dropping to the bottom part. So cool, man. Yeah. If you want to go old school, the Sumo shop has maybe a very interesting option when it comes to the Nintendo DS Lite. You can always pick like second one up, but they will be completely scratched up because these things were having a lot of, let's say, craziness when it comes to scratching up with the stylus. Yep, and this thing is completely refurbished and they're not actually like asking a lot of money for it. We have like an extra bonus of the Game Boy games, that's kind of cool. So we have actually 4 systems that we can play: Game Boy, Game Boy Color, the Advance, and then of course the Nintendo DS with a massive, great library. Thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, and it would be great to see you in the next video.